Malah saya beri jaminan kita akan tambah SPR bagi rakyat supaya mereka dapat tampung kerugian itu. Mengurangkan ketirisan, dan contoh telah diberikan. Bila disebut penyasaran subsidi, dia tak dapat dilaksanakan dengan berkesan tanpa pendekatan padu dan transformasi digital yang kita.
Pada RM2 di mesin, dia jadi RM2 musim. Cuma yang extra 35 sen yang dibayar itu, dia akan banyak bagi untung kepada keluarga M40 dan B40. Kerana M40 dan B40 dia tak pakai banyak petrol. Sekarang pun kita tengok memang betul sebahagian besar rakyat kita memang tak habis lebih 100 liter sebulan.
Yang mereka yang layak terutamanya hanya warga Malaysia yang akan mendapat subsidi yang dibuat oleh kerajaan. Ini akan mengurangkan ketirisan yang ada di dalam negara ini. Dan kerana kita menjangka kita akan dapat penjimatan daripada ketirisan itu, kerana itulah kita bersetuju untuk mengurangkan harga bersubsidi daripada RM2.15 ke RM2.10 seliter.
Targeted subsidy are government assistance distributed specifically to groups who genuinely need support. Through systems such as PADU, government collects household information to reduce leakage and improve subsidy efficiency. Instead of providing subsidy equally to everyone, targeted assistance focus more on lower income groups such as B40 household, senior citizen and vulnerable communities. Every year, Malaysia spends billions of ringgit to help the cost of living, but are these benefits reaching the people who need them the most? As the government shifted from the blanket subsidy to the targeted assistance, issues such as leakage, unfair distribution and misuse continue to raise concern. So, is Malaysia targeted subsidy system really effective in protecting vulnerable groups and ensuring public funds are used wisely?
I noticed that fuel price and daily expenses keep increasing lately. Even groceries are becoming more expensive.
Yes, and many people are confused about the targeted subsidy system. Some think they will lose all assistance immediately.
Exactly. My father keeps talking how difficult it is to manage the money expenses now. Transportation costs also increase.
I do understand that the government wants to reduce the subsidy leakage, but many middle-income families feel pressured too.
You know, sometimes people panic because they only see social media headlines without knowing understanding the full explanations.
This shows that lack of understanding causes many Malaysians to view targeted subsidy as a burden instead of a long-term solution. Other than that, there are several challenges related to unsustainable fiscal burden of broad-based subsidy spending.
I was surprised when I found out the government spent subsidies on every year.
Yes, and broad-based subsidies are being used by almost everyone, including high-income groups.
That is why the government is trying to focus the assistance only on the people who truly need support.
If subsidy spending is increasing, it will affect the country's financial stability in the future.
I think many people don't realize that subsidies spending can become huge burden for the country.
And if too much money being spent on subsidies, other sectors like healthcare and education may receive less funding.
Broad-based subsidies may provide temporary relief, but excessive spending can become unsustainable in the long term.
You know, my uncle said his information was inaccurate during the registration.
Yes, even some people complain that their application took too long to be approved.
Yeah.
Weak data system can make it difficult for the government to identify who is truly eligible for the assistance.
That's true. If the database is outdated, some people may receive it, but also there will be some people that will be left behind.
You know that administrative delays also creates confusion and frustration amongst the public.
I think the system should be more organized, and more efficient so the progress can become more faster.
Thus, we aim at this system and an accurate database may reduce the effectiveness of targeted subsidies and slow down aid distribution. So the question is, how effective the current mechanism in solving this issue? To gain deeper understanding of this issue, we gather insight from the expert who share their professional experience on the challenges and effectiveness of the current system. In addition, we also interview the members of public, including students and a local beverage vendor, to hear their personal experience and opinion on how these subsidies affect their daily life and living costs. Now, let's hear the perspective from both experts and the public as we explore the possible improvement and better solution for the future.
How would you evaluate the effectiveness of Malaysia targeted subsidy system in ensuring the assistance reach those who needs it the most?
Like that. So, in my opinion, the initiative of the government to introduce targeted subsidy is a good move. Why? Because we believe that by having this targeted subsidy, we can have better direction in terms of helping the people who are really in need. So the effectiveness can be said as, it's quite dynamic when we talk about how to measure the effectiveness is depending on what we call the impact, the social impact, the social economic impact of the citizen in Malaysia. So should be integrity and accountable for this, what we call government in terms of the fiscal policy, where the money comes from and where the money goes. That one is very important. So that way we hope that the government can manage the public funds effectively and efficiently and go to the right person in our country.
Pemerhatian Tuan, bagaimanakah subsidi bahan api mempengaruhi kehidupan harian rakyat Malaysia dan kos sara hidup secara keseluruhannya?
Di mana kita tahu bahawa culture ekonomi kita adalah perhantaran melalui kenderaan darat, pengangkutan darat. Jadi pengangkutan darat itu menggunakan bahan api diesel. Ini di mana bila harga bahan api ini meningkat, kos-kos lain akan mengganggu dan menjadi kesusahan kepada rakyat. Antaranya adalah pengangkutan bagi kenderaan yang jauh, contoh daripada Perlis ke Johor, dia melibatkan kos yang tinggi. Jadi dekat situ pihak-pihak syarikat ataupun pihak-pihak kilang akan mengkaji semula kos-kos untuk mendapatkan harga ataupun meneliti harga itu supaya harga yang ditawarkan kepada pengguna tidak membebankan rakyat. Itu adalah salah satu mekanisme yang kerajaan kontrol lah.
Jadi soalan yang kedua adalah, memandangkan Tuan adalah wakil dari KPDN, adakah pihak KPDN berkait secara langsung dengan pengagihan subsidi?
Ya, betul. Syarikat kementerian adalah kementerian yang bertanggungjawab memberi dan mengawal barang kawalan.
From your perspective, has the transition towards targeted subsidies improved the efficiency of subsidies distribution in Malaysia?
Okay, let's face it. I mean, first of all, this subsidies topic is not a popular opinion among all the Malaysians. But in my opinion, the targeted subsidies actually improve the efficiency of the distribution. But however, the success of these targeted subsidies depends on how heavily on the implementation quality as well as public trust. If you look at the economic perspective, targeted subsidies are generally more efficient because of the reduced leakages, especially with the subsidies of the diesel that we had, last year, I think. So it, like the subsidy reform on the diesel, so it actually proved that billions of ringgit actually saved from the misuse and smuggling. Another improvement on the targeted subsidies is how the government spend the money. As the target subsidies, like how we had last time, it was extremely expensive, and with the global price hike, the targeted subsidies actually help to reduce the pressure on the budgeting, and the government can actually channel the extra ringgit to other sectors such as the healthcare, the education, for example.
As a student, how the targeted subsidies or changes to things like public transport and food assistance that affect our daily expenses and student life.
I think targeted subsidies or changes like fuel assistance and also public transportation really affect my life as a student, because I personally do not have income or any financial resources other than my parents, and also from the JPA convertible loan. So that is the only resources that I have. Since that is the only resources that I have, I think the financial on transportation is very helpful for me to go from one destination to another, because I think transportation is non-negotiable thing. It can't be adjusted, as I every day need to go from one destination to another. So with the assistance in transporting from one place to another, I can manage my money from focus solely on transporting to other important things in my life. I personally think that whether the support system is enough or not is based on how I spend my money.
How do changes in the government subsidy program directly affect your business operation, cost or consumer pricing?
So basically, in a government subsidy program, it actually affects us directly a lot, especially when it comes to operational costs. Operational cost includes all of our ingredients. So when government subsidies are given to us, then it will reduce a lot of costs in terms of sugar, in terms of oil, whenever we need to use it, right? So firstly, it does change a lot in terms of operational costs, and secondly, for consumer pricing, I believe that it does change it a lot as well, since a lot of consumers actually have the power to actually spend more since they have more disposable income. So I believe it does change a lot when we do have subsidy programs.
Based on the survey result, 54.9% of the respondents rate the current government subsidy system as moderately efficient, while 23.5% consider it highly efficient. Meanwhile, 19.6% believe it is inefficient, and only 2% view it is as highly inefficient. This aligns with the expert opinion, as they agree that Malaysia's subsidy system has improved in reaching the targeted groups. However, subsidy leakage and inaccurate recipient data are still major issue. There is support by Finance Minister too, Amir Hamzah, who stated that diesel subsidy leakage reached around 20 billion ringgit, showing that some subsidies are still not reaching to the right people. In conclusion, targeted subsidies are an effort to ensure the government aid is distributed more fairly and effectively. Based on the expert insight and private opinion, it is clear that targeted subsidies come with both challenges and opportunities. However, they also create a pathway towards a more sustainable and stable economy for Malaysia. Ultimately, targeted subsidies have helped many Malaysians by reducing the burden of rising living costs and providing support for vulnerable groups to maintain their daily life.